Good morning. Last night I had two dreams, and both dreams ended up with the same word. And it was not an easy dream, but mainly what was said at the end is what really had an impact, and I could feel it very much in my spirit. And I feel I'm supposed to put it out this morning. And if I look at the numbers of how many people are viewing these type of videos, it's not much, 3 or 4, but maybe that's all that's needed. I don't know. I just know that even to go on YouTube is something I felt led to do, kind of pushed to do. So I make some funny videos, but then I make these videos. And the words that I kept hearing were destruction and corruption. And the corruption was like that of a decaying body, something that was dying or dead in how it starts to corrupt. And it can do it very, very quickly. The day that I watched them carry out my late wife, in the few minutes that she had passed away and the body was there, and she went by as they were carrying her out. We were saying our goodbyes and crying, and an extremely difficult time. Her eyes were partially open, and I could see that they had already turned kind of like a milky white. And I remember being in kind of like a shock that it was happening so fast. And anyway, part of the dream and everything is about America. And, you know, you reflect who you serve. If you truly are a servant of Jesus Christ, you walk in the things of God and the Holy Spirit, there's a reflection. When you look in the mirror, you're going to reflect into this world who you are and what you are. You know, you're going to produce fruits of your beliefs. And if you're someone from the other side serving the God of this world, you're going to reflect those beliefs. And let's tell a story right now. Let's make up this story. And there was a nation, and this nation was, quote unquote, having where they were trying to put someone of power into office. And in putting them into power through tech, people, boots on the ground, they were able to manipulate the numbers and cheat and steal to change who they wanted in power compared to who the people wanted in power. And so they got their person in power. But what you actually did is you put in corruption and destruction. You drank the communion cup of any evil that they did, and you will participate in any of their sins they did and have the results there. And in that, what happened was the destruction of America. Many times I was sitting and I'd be praying and I'd hear death, death, death crosses the border. Death, death, death crosses the border. And so the destruction for this nation has already crossed the border, and it's sort of like a cancer metastasizing throughout the body of a human to slowly deteriorate and kill from within. And cancer, I've seen cancer. I've seen it. My late wife dealt with it 4 times. I know what it does to the body, and I've been around other people with chemo and radiation and stuff, and I know and have seen the results of what cancer does. And in that process, that's what America has. We have that destruction here already of people who are ready and waiting to attack and to bring this nation down. And the thing is they were brought in by people in charge. They were allowed in. And so we are already in the process of the homelessness is a weapon. The people crossing the border, they came here with a hope and a dream and maybe a wanting a better life. And in a lot of ways, I can't blame them. But the people who allowed them to cross, I don't think really cared or loved them. They were just a weapon. They're just something used maybe by the elite. I have no idea. But they were a weapon. And to change the face of this nation. At one time, America was a godly nation. We didn't. It isn't about other religions. We were a Judeo-Christian nation. As much as they hate that, there's only one name really given on this planet right now that this receives persecution like the believers. Maybe not so much in America, but it is growing. And the Jews, which are just in a tremendous war. I woke up last night praying for Israel and the peace and Iran and all these things. It was just heavy on my heart, and the destruction that can quickly happen, like the poor people in Tennessee, South Carolina, down through there that need to help, and how quickly our world can change in a few minutes. And what is the impact of the shipping that has stopped and the wisdom of these men? I mean, really, you need 70% income raise. You make over $200,000. Unions, I think, in some ways can be good, but they can also be very evil. They seem to have a blindness to them, and they can't see the results. And quite often, union leaders, they still receive their paycheck. They don't feel the pain of the workers missing a paycheck. They're not on boots on the ground. They're there making a decision, and sometimes the money gained isn't always worth the money lost. As unions and companies and people are in trouble right now, so what all you've done is added more inflation. You become part of the problem. You may solve your problem, but for the rest of America, you have created more problems. The only hope, really, I believe, for our nation, and I do believe you'll see fighting in the streets of America soon, and possibly, I don't know for sure, but the grid system can be hit, the cell phones can be taken out, and people are trying to hack us every day. The best thing you can do is be ready, but the main thing you can do is for the believers, is see the hope that you have in Jesus Christ. You, as the believers, as a Christian nation, we are still a Christian nation. That's what we are. We are still a Christian nation. Don't allow the enemy to destroy the church in America. You need to spiritually wake up and move forward to the revival. America has a history of great awakenings and great men and women of God coming in and radically changing this nation back to falling on their knees and going before the Lord. And many people do not want to hear this message, but it is our only hope. There's no other God under this on this earth that will be able to save this nation. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. The sin is like leaven that spreads, and that's what's been happening. The sin is spreading. The sin. I think actually hell has to be so horrible because sin is so bad just to contain it. I mean, I often wonder why hell is beyond any horrible nightmare by a millionfold. And the dog has decided to need attention right now. So it spreads. And but America, wake up, believers. You're the only hope. You don't have to worry about your boats and your planes and trains, whatever you're going to do out there. A lot of that stuff ain't going to exist here soon but the blessings of God are still there, and the believers, we can walk in them. Maybe those around us might not get to walk in them, but you can call upon the name of the Lord, and even in difficult times, God's provision is still going to be here, but you have to be in a place to receive it. And you're going to have to focus on the word. You're going to have to focus on prayer. You're going to focus on what is your purpose and your calling, not what you want to do, what you need to do to allow revival to spread across this nation and this world. That's the one thing that will bring peace. That's the one thing that the elites and Illuminati, Luciferians, whatever, I don't know, totally out there, but they're afraid of that name because they do know, even the devil himself, but he doesn't tell these people, there will be a day that every eye shall see and every knee shall bow. They will stand before ultimate truth and ultimate love, ultimate judgment, ultimate peace that passes all understanding, eyes that will penetrate to the very core of your being. You know that when you look at the Lord, that he knows everything about you, every thought, every deed. And the knowledge of the Spirit will tell you who you are and where you're at and where you need to be. There are challenges coming. How bad, I do not know. But we allowed the leaven to grow in this nation. Half of the nation wanted it. You got what you wanted. You will feel the pain. You will feel the difficulties. But your blindness might not allow you to see its source. Your eyes are closed and your heart is hardened. And it will be difficult for you to understand. And you will blame others who really aren't at fault. But the believers, you can still receive the rain. You can still receive the grain. You can still receive the bread. And it might be divine in your life, but you have to be in a position to receive. Jesus passed out the fishes and the loaves, and that could still be done even today. There still be believers with just a minimal amount of food, but the box will never empty. The refrigerator will never go dry. Maybe there's no power bill. You can't pay your power bill, but yet there's always electricity in your house. What can you believe God for? Maybe there's always gas in your gas tank, but you never go to the gas station. What can you believe for? And you might get to find out. I love those sweet Jesus people. Oh, sweet Jesus, but let's find out what happens when you are walking towards the lion's den. What happens when you can feel the heat of the fire? And what happens when the Lord has given you a command to build an ark that's going to take 100 years? And you and your family have to get along to achieve this goal. That's when true Christianity hits the ground. And as the heat rises from this present day time and the difficulties ahead, you will feel the stress, and then you will see what you were made of. As the sun rises behind me and the new day comes, there's always hope as a believer. There's always hope. And for those who, you might get to live without your cell phones and your internet and a few other things for a while, but you're still connected to the Lord. You still can pray, and you can still feel that in your spirit. And I have to take the dog outside to go pee. So I hope the right people hear this. And corruption and destruction, a result of something dying. And America is that body right now. And you have to wait and see it. You can go with normalcy bias. In other words, well, this is the way it's always been, Anthony. No. Each day it is far from normal. We just can't see it. The economy, like a little hot air balloon or a little balloon that you get at Walmart or Dollar Tree or Dollar General, it's been falling, and it rises from fake heat. But our economy is in serious trouble. This nation has backed away from the God that created it, and difficult times are coming, some worse than others. Have a good morning. Pass this on if you're brave enough. Bye-bye.